The sign said, "Welcome to Florida." And as if by magic, a golden glow spread across the windshield, dissolving the last trace of a northeast winter. I was relocating to my new home in Central Florida, barreling down the highway, and I had only seen the house once before. When I went through the house with the real estate agent, I noticed a dead beetle on the living room floor. What I thought was a dead beetle. She hummed La Cucaracha, but the innuendo was lost on me, and that was my introduction to Florida wildlife. And after I moved in, I stepped into the shower and discovered a wolf spider 4 inches from my face. And of course, there were the mosquitoes the size of quarters. And the love bugs. What's up with that? I mean, that's just plain indecent. But the worst was the tobacco chewer. The first time I saw him, I thought he was a toy left in the garden by some child. It was a 6-inch grasshopper type thing with yellow and black racing stripes and googly eyes. And then it turned its head toward me. And I don't know how it happened, but that tobacco chewer made its way into my car, onto my shoulder, and down my shirt while I was driving. I screeched into the nearest gas station. I jumped out of the car. I pulled my shirt off. I was flapping it up and down and screaming. There was an older couple at the pump next to me. They were rolling up their windows to protect themselves from the crazy lady, but they stayed to watch. And the people at the 7-Eleven on the other side came running out for the entertainment. And 2 young, handsome hunks came out of the gas station office because this was 1972, and we still had gas station attendants. One of them picked up the tobacco chewer, which had landed on the ground, and I'm not proud to say he was minus a leg by that time, and wiggled him in front of me and said, "You ain't afeard of this little bug, are ya?" I was afeard of that little bug. I was a city girl, born and bred on the concrete streets and brick stoops of Brooklyn, New York. And I was afeard of that bug and all the other insects and creatures that grew to mammoth proportions in Florida. So I summoned up what was left of my dignity, put my shirt back on, and said, "I am. Thank you." And I abandoned my errands. I got in my car, went home, had a cry. How do people live here with these creatures in their houses that belong in a zoo, not in my car? But the next day, I tackled my errands again. And as I pulled out of my driveway, I smelled something exquisite. And as I went down the highway, I smelled it again. And then a little while later, again, I had my head hanging out the window of my car, just breathing in big gulps of air. It was so beautiful. And when I got home, I noticed a little cluster of waxy white flowers on a tree in my yard. And I realized what I was smelling for the very first time in my life was orange blossom. Well, later that spring, I got to smell the gardenias that bloomed in my yard and the Confederate jasmine. And these things still bloom in my yard and perfume my home. And I've learned how to deal with the bugs. And I enjoy seeing a raccoon make its way down my path. And Mr. Armadillo still lives underneath the little porch in the back, and Mama Possum lives in the tool shed. And I've had peacocks come and visit me, and little birds make nests near my door. And with all the building that has gone on in all these years, all around Orlando and in Orlando, Mother Nature still chooses to live here. And so do I. Thank you.